1. This happened in May of this year, and honestly, I need to get it off my chest. For context, I am a 19-year-old girl, but everyone tells me I look younger. This particular day, I was walking home in the afternoon, around the time children leave from school, on what was supposed to be a busy road. It was eerily quiet, but nothing was unusual. I was talking to my best friend with headphones on, and felt comfortable alone. As my friend suddenly went quiet, I realized my phone had died. I looked a little further to see a lay-by where a cab was parked, which isn't unusual. Sometimes cabs will park there so they can sleep on a break. Despite my headphones, I could still hear a car behind me pick up speed as I approached this lay-by. And the next events unfolded within a matter of minutes, though it felt much longer than that at the time. This, for some reason, made me pay attention. I'm not sure what it was, because my area is known for people racing in cars, but it nerved me. I was right to feel this way, because the guy in the car began to make hand signals. I was really anxious at the time, and trying not to look. But I think he was trying to get me to come closer. I guess he got annoyed when I began to pick up pace, because he quickly pulled over into the lay-by, a little bit behind this other car, and got out from his side of the pavement. I began to pick up pace again, half running to get to the front of the other car. I got a good look at the guy as he stalked towards me. I'm a fan of true crime, and I often find a lot of the time most evil people will look charming or harmless. Like you would not be able to tell at all. This guy was not like that. I think that's what struck me originally, and why this moment sticks out in my mind. He looked like he was in his early 40s, balding at the top of his head except for ginger hairs at the sides. His eyes seemed like a light blue hidden behind these glasses. His shirt was blue, and I remember, I don't know how, it seemed stained at the top, just beneath his neck. He looked like a slob. I can't remember what else he wore. I think shorts, maybe. But it isn't really important. I also saw slightly in front of his car, before he had gotten out, which seemed like it was full of trash. Anyway, as he approached me, now also half running, I just got in front of the other car and went across to the crossing. I honestly can't remember the other guy's reaction, the car in front, I mean. I don't know if he saw all of this happen as he was in front, but I do remember hoping that he was watching me so the other guy felt like he couldn't grab me. The guy following me gets really pissed off and gets back into his car, slamming the door. I'm at the crossing now, which was just in front of the lay-by. I watch him speed down the end of the road as I cross to the other side. At the end of this road is a roundabout, and I was terrified that he was going to turn round the road I was now walking on, where there were no cars, hidden by a shrub at the crossing. I start running to the bottom of the road so I can get onto the one on the right, which is usually busy, not really paying attention. I can't see this car, and luckily, there are a bunch more, so I continue walking. My phone is dead, so I'm freaking out. I'm also in my head downplaying the experience already. As I reach the end of this road, I can see my house, and I begin to cross it. Behind a line of cars, I see this guy's car again. I don't know if he saw me. I don't know if he saw me enter my house. I called the police to report this guy. They really weren't helpful, saying things like, "When it happens again, get the license plate," after I told them I had to run. They did put out a warning, I think. What freaks me out the most is what I learned after. I told my friend, a different one, and she had the same experience 30 minutes earlier on another side of town, but she didn't see the guy. The next thing is a string of disappearances in the surrounding areas. I sometimes see a girl's missing poster on my way to work. She was in my year at school. We have a mutual friend. I'm not saying it's the same guy. Just the coincidence made me a little more nerved. The last thing I considered was that it kind of looked like I was wearing a uniform. I had come from work, so black skirt and white shirt. Was about maybe 10 minutes away from a school crossing at the time. I don't know if this guy was looking for kids, but it just really freaks me out. 2. So I've just been swimming by myself. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but for someone who's got bad anxiety and terrible mental health, it's a biggie. Due to a condition I have called endometriosis, swimming is the easiest workout for me, without being in too much pain, so it's my go-to thing. Now, I live in a small village in South Wales, not far from Brecon. Hardly anything ever happens here. Just realized as I'm writing this, someone actually got murdered last week. R.I.P. Anyway, everyone here is super friendly. Everyone knows each other and will always wave and say hello. So, apart from the murder last week, it's a chilled, safe and relaxed village. As I said, I've just been swimming and despite my anxiety I went by myself. I get to the changing rooms and it's empty. Literally no person, no bags or towels in sight. I'm the only chick here. Great. I head into the pool hoping it's quiet, but alas, there's at least 12 guys in the pool and I can see a couple in the sauna. Great. Quick backstory, I was sexually molested growing up for quite a few years and was raped by an ex when I was 14. So I'm pretty weary around dudes. I know not everyone is an asshole, but my anxiety is like, nope. I'm like, screw it, and go into the pool anyway, ignoring my anxiety screeching at me. I'm not exactly an attractive chick, but I do have big boobs and I'm super aware of them in the pool as they're like inflatable balls bobbing up and down. I actively make sure I keep myself underwater just so I feel more comfortable and less visible. I start swimming, looking around at all these dudes around me. Lots of men with their sons teaching them how to swim. An older man teaching an even older dude how to swim. Alright, everyone's minding their own business. That was until I clocked the creepy Dr. Phil lookalike, who was sat on some chairs just outside the sauna. He was staring at me and not even being subtle about it. I put it down to my anxiety making me think everyone's staring when they're not. I get closer to the deep end, and closer to creepy Dr. Phil, still staring. I get to the end, turn around and swim back. As I get to the shallow end, I notice that creepy Dr. Phil has now entered the pool. I'm on the right-hand side of the pool, and he's in the middle. He starts swimming toward the shallow end, and I the deep. I reach the wall and turn around. He's heading straight for me, coming to the right-hand side of the pool. There is no way he got to the shallow end and back in the time it took me to get to the deep end. I push off and swim back. He follows. Now this dude is easily in his 60s. Boobs that are almost the same size as mine, and a massive beer belly. He ain't the fittest. I've swam to the shallow end, heading back to the deep end before he's even halfway. I decide to swim to the middle to put some distance between me and creepy Dr. Phil, and of course, he's heading for me and back into the middle. Fucker. I swim back, heading to the right-hand side of the pool. He heads to the right-hand side of the pool. I push off to the left, he of course heads to the left. This carries on for a few lengths, so I decide to go into the middle, and when he catches up, I move along to the left-hand side, but staying in the deep end. He doesn't follow me, but stays there staring. I tread water, waiting for him to go back before me, and he does, but super slow this time. I wait until he's heading back towards me before I swim off. As I pass him, I can feel his eyes burning into me. I can feel myself starting to panic, and my anxiety is like, told you not to do this. Anyway, creepy Dr. Phil gets out of the pool, and I'm like, thank you, Chuck, he's leaving. Nope, just going into the sauna. I thought that would make it better, but instead I can see him watching me through the sauna window. I try to keep my eyes averted, but he's just there in my peripherals staring. I do a few lengths, and out comes creepy Dr. Phil glistening from the sweat. Lush. He sits down on the chairs to the side, and just watches me some more. I try to ignore him until, and I shit you not, he starts rubbing his nipples. Yeah, he could have been scratching, but it was way too long for just a scratch. Now I'm just getting angry at this point and try to ignore him, as I'm swimming back to the deep where he gets up and goes to the end of the pool to jump in. He decides to stand right where I'm swimming to. I'm like, nope. I don't even make it to the wall before turning on the spot and swimming away. Now I head to the left-hand side of the pool, knowing that creepy Dr. Phil is in the middle. I get to the shallow end, and big shock, he's heading for me. I get even more angry and start swimming straight at him. He doesn't move at first, and neither do I. As I get closer, he realizes I ain't shifting, so he has to move. As I go past, I deliberately splash him. Petty, I know, but punching creepy old dudes is frowned upon. I tread water in the deep end just to catch my breath, and he just comes up beside me and stays. I look straight ahead, perfectly aware that he's just looking straight at me. I've had enough at this point, and swim to the shallow end. Creepy Dr. Phil not far behind, and I just leave the pool. I go into the changing rooms and just call him every inventive name I can think of. I probably should have said something to the lifeguard, but I literally get so anxious to speak to people, I'd rather just put up with stuff. End of the day, no one should have to deal with crap like that, and I wish that I had said something. Fingers crossed I won't see that dude again, but if I do, and all this happens again, shit's gonna go down. 3. I've had more than my fair share of creepy encounters, but this one was particularly dramatic. One where I did really feel my life was in danger. I was on holiday visiting family in South Asia. Having been born and brought up in England, a lot of things over there are quite foreign to me, relevant for later on. We, my parents and I, were staying at my uncle's apartment. My aunt and uncle were at work, and my parents had gone away for a day trip to visit relatives in a neighboring town, leaving me at home with my 2 cousins, Hamish and Adam. Adam was 8 years old at the time, Hamish was 3. I was about 12 or 13. Adam and Hamish always argued about everything. If one wanted a particular cereal at breakfast, an argument would break out over breakfast choices. Adam is stupid for wanting Cocoa Pops. My Shreddies are so much better. I'm not even going to sit here and eat while he eats that horrible rubbish. While playing with a toy, let's make the doll swim the lake. No, it's not a lake, stupid, it's a sea, and so on. In short, I was very used to them disagreeing and squabbling, and couldn't remember any time they were in harmony, especially over playtime. This may seem like a digression, but it is relevant background information for later on. On this particular day, Hamish was in the living room, building a Lego boat. He had been working on this boat for a few days now. Adam had gone outside to play with his friends on the street. He left the door slightly ajar, so he could come and go. It was a hot and humid day as usual, so I went to take a shower. I was sitting in my room, drying my hair, when Hamish came running to me, in tears. "Tashina, my boat is broken." "What?" "My Lego boat. Someone stepped on it and broke it." "Oh." He grasped my hand and led me to the living room where the boat was snapped. He was really upset. It had been his pride and joy. And so I commiserated and reassured him that all hope was not lost. It shouldn't take too long to fix. I thought he must have broken it himself by accident, perhaps stepping on it and not realizing. He had been working on the floor with the boat sitting on the living room rug. With Hamish finally placated and back to work on his boat, I went back to my room. A few minutes passed without incident. I could hear Hamish moving around, and I heard Adam come back inside and go to the living room. I got a book and curled up on the bed. It was a lazy, drowsy sort of day. And then all that was shattered. Adam and Hamish came charging into my room, almost tripping over each other. "Tashina! Tashina!" Hamish ran to me. Adam paused to slam the bedroom door closed behind him. "There's a man in the living room. He's wearing a mask. He had a knife. He must have been the one who broke my boat." Wait. I looked at the pair of ashen faces, completely solemn. "Are you playing some sort of game?" "No. He's wearing a horrible, scary mask. He has a knife." I got up slowly, still not sure whether they were messing with me, play acting, and this was some sort of pretend game. "Where?" "In the living room," said Adam, pointing. "He's wearing a mask." "Yes, like a Halloween mask, with a big scary smile on it," said Adam. "Smile showing teeth," said Hamish, nodding along furiously. "And he had a knife," said Adam. "A big knife," said Hamish. "Yeah," said Adam. They looked entirely serious and terrified, looking at me with their upturned, earnest, and pleading faces. I think more than anything it was the fact they agreed upon the description of this man and what he was carrying that really cemented upon me that they were telling the truth. If this had been some sort of pretend game, they would have disagreed by now, trying to outdo each other in what he was wearing, or the weapon he was carrying. Instinctively I went to the door. I wasn't sure why, or to achieve what purpose. I still wasn't scared. I knew they were telling the truth. But could there be an innocent explanation? They were overexcitable kids. My hand went to the door handle. "No," said Adam in a hiss. And they both came running towards me, their hands clawing at me. "Don't go out there." Wait, okay, so let me get this straight. He was in the living room. They nodded. What was he doing? How did you manage to escape? Did he threaten you? "I was sitting on the sofa to watch TV," said Adam. "Hamish was on the floor with his boat. The man came in and we saw the knife in his hands." "What happened then? Was he pointing it at you?" "No, it was just in his hands. As soon as we saw him, we ran and came to you." The living room has two doors, one that leads to a corridor that basically snakes around the front of the building, and the other one leads to a corridor to the inside of the apartment. The boys had taken this latter doorway, with the man presumably standing by the first one. The story did indeed make sense. It had come so suddenly and was taking me a while to actually process the seriousness of what they were telling me. There was an intruder inside the apartment, with a knife. And I was the oldest, so I was in charge. They had come to me for protection. God, what to do? Okay, let's not panic. What we need to do is we need to phone the police. Mobiles were still not common in this era. The only phone in the apartment was the landline, and luckily it was right outside my room. It was on the table in the corridor, facing the door to my room. Unluckily, however, it was not a cordless phone. However, the cord was long enough. I might be able to grab the whole thing, pull it inside, and close the door. I rehearsed this in my mind. I need to get to the phone so we can call the police. "No, the man will get you," said Hamish, clinging to my arm. "He might be in the corridor," said Adam. We were all suddenly whispering, I realized. "Well, we can check," I said, my hand going for the handle. "No," hissed Adam. He grabbed my hand. "It's dangerous." "Look, I'll just peek, okay? If he's there, I can quickly close the door." Adam eventually, though reluctantly, agreed. I turned the handle slowly. My stomach felt tight as I did so. The tension of the boys standing next to me did not help matters. I eased the door away from its frame, pulling it as slowly and noiselessly as possible. When it was slightly ajar, I pressed my face to the gap and looked around. The corridor was dark and empty. "Okay," I said, turning to face the boys. "There's no one there. I'm going to sneak outside and grab the phone and come back, okay? As soon as I get back in with the phone, you close the door behind me. It's only a couple of steps to the phone. It'll just take a few seconds, don't worry, okay?" Adam was a mess, wringing his hands, pleading with me not to go. Hamish stood stoic, nodding. I pulled the door open further and stepped outside. Hamish and Adam crowded into the space I had just vacated, peering out of the doorway to watch me. As I stepped outside into the empty, quiet corridor, I began to feel silly. Could this just be the boys' active imagination? Had they seen something on TV and become convinced it was real? Maybe I was just being stupid. Maybe there was no one there. I was feeling much calmer and incredulous about the situation. Still, it was possible. Better to be safe than sorry. I would take the phone inside and call my uncle to come home. I stepped up to the table and looked at the phone, quickly assessing it. I tugged on the cord that plugged into the wall. Yes, it should be long enough to take inside. I picked up the whole thing and looked up. He was standing there. He was wearing a clown-like grinning mask, and he had a knife in his hand. I don't think I need to tell you it was the most stomach-dropping, terrifying moment. The shock and fright felt like someone had just smacked my face. I couldn't scream. I dropped the phone and just leapt back to the door, charging back inside my room, slamming into Adam and Hamish as I did so. All three of us banged the door shut. Adam and Hamish stood leaning against the door, and I dragged my bed in an adrenaline-fueled frenzy over to the door to barricade it. There was no lock on the door. Would the bed be strong enough, heavy enough? I began piling everything I could think of onto the bed to make it heavier. Hamish and Adam wordlessly joined in, the books, the bookshelf, all my bags, my suitcase, my clothes, the clock, everything. And then we all sat down in the bed, clambering onto it, leaning against the upper part of the door to make sure it couldn't open. Now that all was still, we just looked at each other. Adam began to cry, not Hamish, the younger one, but Adam, just bawling in a thin, whiny voice. "God, we're going to die," he wailed. No, we're not going to die," I said, though my heart was still pounding painfully against my chest and in my ears. I was going to be sick. I was shaking. Hamish was just sitting quietly next to me, his little hands folded across his chest. "Going to die," said Adam again. Okay, calm down. What can we do?" I thought about it frantically. He can't stay there forever. We'll just wait until he goes away. I don't think I'll ever forget that image. Little Hamish, 3 years old, sitting next to me looking solemn, his legs out in front of him, clad in those little jeans, with his hands clasped on his lap. His back leaning against the door, Adam on the other side of me, his knees pulled to his chest, tears streaming down his face, making whimpering noises. All of us in a row, barricades against the door. We could hear footsteps in the corridor, occasionally. The time pressed on, and our tension didn't wane. With every passing second, we expected to hear a thud on the door, the man trying to get in. Thankfully, it didn't happen. We eventually heard my aunt come in, talking in the corridor, wondering where we were, calling us. It was amazing, but there was a tinge of dread, in case the man was still in the apartment, in case he might attack her. We, all 3 of us, clambered off the bed and pulled it away from the door, hastily running outside. We told her what happened, and we searched the place, emboldened by the presence of an adult. The frustrating thing, though, my aunt and uncle, when he got back from work, didn't believe us at all. She thought we were flat out lying for entertainment, which I found particularly underwhelming, given that at 12 or 13 years old and mature for my age, I would never make up something as serious as that. First she laughed and rolled her eyes, waving us away. When we persisted and repeated, insisting it really did happen and we were telling the truth, she eventually grew tired and told us to stop. I still find it astonishing how lightly sometimes people take the complaints of children. We were shaken up for the rest of the day and feeling very indignant at having been just shooed away after something so terrifying had happened. When my parents got back, we told them, and it was some solace that they did indeed take us seriously. They knew that it was completely out of character for me to just dream up or lie about something like that. My aunt and uncle, however, still didn't agree. Later in the evening, we were getting ready to go out to dinner. We heard my aunt cry out in surprise, and my uncle rushed to go see what had happened. It turns out all her jewelry was gone. That was when they finally did, indeed, believe that we had been telling the truth, and there had indeed been an intruder. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 426. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Well, I can hear gulls or something outside, whatever it is. Having a rare old time. It is 25 to 6 in the morning. I'm a bit late getting this done, but it took me a while to get the stories together, but they're done now, and that's all that matters. I want to thank everybody. This is Wednesday, you'll get this, so I'm a bit late thanking you, but thank everybody who joined me for the streams, or rather, joined us for the streams of the weekend. They ran longer than we were expecting, I think, but we were having fun, essentially, just running around in circles. If we stream again at the weekend, I think we'll be a bit more situated, so there should be more in the way of actual gameplay. Still, you did get to watch me try outfits on, and I rather enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.